Good morning and welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Stacey Earlywine.
And I am not Beth.
And you are not Beth.
No.
No, who are you anyway?
I am Amy Allen. And I am back for a second time now that my show was so popular the first time that I came on.
That's right.
Ratings went through the roof.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, yeah. Yeah, Beth is on with her other job. She has to leave me sometimes. And sometimes we just both can't be here. But fall's upon us. Lots of fun things happening in the community. My goodness, I don't even know where to start on things.
No, next weekend, is Apple Knocker.
Oh, when do they put the sign out for that?
Sometime next week, I think. I think it goes up the week of.
Okay.
Yeah, when they drape it across town. And that always makes me think of, like, literally the Hallmark movies, like when they go 4th of July picnic, you know, or celebrations, and they drape it right there across where you enter into the community, you know. I always liked seeing those big signs up. But, also on the Apple Knocker Day is always, and I always forget, it's two things. The aviation flights for kids.
I always forget that.
Yeah, and I've not heard anything yet about it, so we're going to have to call them out of it and find out if they're doing it again this year. But they have been the last few years.
I'm going to send him a text right now.
Yeah, and then the other one is there's a really nice craft festival over in Olney.
You know what? I want to go to that craft
fest. Have you been?
To be perfectly honest, I have not done that
great.
Since Apple Knocker started, because Apple Knocker got so big and we were always involved in that.
You can
but
do
I am
both.
going to zip over there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you can do both.
I'm going to sign up. Apple Knocker, we are also, for Nostalgia Theater Children's Christmas Play, we are signing up kids that day for that play.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, if you do like Apple Knocker in the morning, like up till noon.
That's what I'm
going to
do.
Head over to Olney.
How late is the one at...
I think it's like 3 or 4 maybe in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So you've got plenty of time to get over there.
Is what am I asking? Is the aviation event?
The free flights.
Okay.
Yeah, they do those free flights. So
happening.
I think they paused during COVID for a little while, but then they've kicked them back up. They've been going the last few years.
Yeah. What exactly do they do?
So you go out, they kind of sign the kids up for like a little newsletter. And
the girls did that, didn't they?
My girls haven't yet because you have to be, I think, 8. I think you have to be 8 years old to go. So like Bella could go this year.
Send that to him. See if he gets back to me.
And it's free, and they take them up. And those little puddle jumper planes, I call them puddle jumpers. I don't know what they're really called, but yeah, they take them up in those little planes, and they go for a spin. You know, they get their little headphones on. It's cute. They're like 1, 2, 3. Take off.
You're kidding!
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if he gets back to us. Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's a really cool way to introduce flight to kids, especially in our area where, they don't talk about it too much about what goes on out there. And that is some amazing career opportunities, even at our little bitty airport.
Know what? We did an episode not too long on the first airport that was in town.
Oh, yeah.
That was south of Elmwood. We did it. Actually, there's actually
I didn't know there was a different one.
Yeah, south of Elmwood.
That's awesome.
Well, if Amy would watch By the Way with Beth and Stacey, you can like and follow us on Facebook. We are on Catch TV every day on channel 100 at 11.
But how many episodes do you guys have now?
160
That's
some
a
probably.
lot to keep up with. Yeah.
And then you can always like us on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Which I've done.
Well, then you need to be watching our show.
So riddle me this: is it true? We were just talking about the cemetery tour. We were talking about the Ford Town and everything, right?
Right.
So I'd heard a rumor that when Ford Town came to town, that we had to increase and elongate our airport, the one that we have now, and that's why it's the size it is now, in order to get airplanes in for the president and everybody that flew in. What
happened that day, the day that they did Ford Town, that was whenever we just did $100,000, of course this was 1960, $100,000 renovation on the airport. And the governor was coming to town that day also. So it wasn't, it just so happened that Ford Town and the airport, that just coincided that day.
So that's the rumor I wondered about, because I'd heard that we had to make it bigger in order to get everyone here for that event, because it was so big. I
don't think that was the case.
Sure.
Okay, Matt said, I haven't heard anything yet. The fellow who used to put it together here is of age. I'll let you know if I hear anything.
Well, typically it is. So pencil it in. And there is a Facebook page for the Flora Airport. So I'm sure they'll at Flora. I think it's Flora Municipal Airport.
Yeah.
They'll have it up there. So if you want to check it out for Saturday.
So hopefully, maybe they'll, So
It's
maybe
always a
we'll get
beautiful
that.
day for it. Yeah.
But that's like, so when Ford Town did happen, but like I said, it was like already going.
It was just coinciding.
It was just
basically.
coinciding with each other
gotcha.
because they had just put this new expansion on. Because actually, because the other airport in town was on a farmer's field there just south. And if you go on Blue Mound and you get past where kind of like the cemetery where that brown house is at, there's a road that actually says First Airport Road.
Well,
That's where it was
didn't
at
know
in that area. Yeah.
cool.
And actually, and that the guy, the farmer that owned that and put this airport in, he had his hand in everything. He was a very strong, smart businessman. His daughter was the first female pilot in like Southern Illinois.
Oh, neat.
And she was from here.
cool.
It was his daughter. Can't remember the names. I'm terrible with names. I would have to go back if I'm not looking at it right there.
Sure.
I'm terrible with names.
I am too. I'm one of those people that when I introduce myself, I'm like, "Oh, and your name is," and tell me again your name.
Yeah.
And one more time.
And one more time.
It's about 3 times before I can submit
And when
that
I
in.
see
you know?
you 6 months from now, hey baby, what's up, doll? Yeah. Shoot, I just gave away all
note to
mine.
self. Yeah, I was gonna say
Note
note
I
to
just-
self.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, by the way, with Beth and Stacey, our ratings are growing. I just blew everything.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. What's up, doll?
Oh, that's great. So is NBC going to pick you up when you hit like a certain?
Well, I
certain
don't
level,
know.
or
My
what?
producer Ty Landreth will have to say. We'd have to talk to Jansen about that. Beth and I are always like, "Hey, we want to know our numbers," because it's so weird. Because because we're it's a small venue type. You know, they really don't have a way of tracking our numbers like they do. But Beth and I, it's like seems like wherever we go, people are like, "Oh, you know."
Well, and I really do feel like you should resurrect the billboard that was in Effingham with your faces on
we
it.
asked
That was
Jansen
so
about
cool.
that. We want a billboard back.
Yeah, I think that's
Jansen,
just awesome.
we talked about that. We had a meeting the other day. That's why
That was
Beth-
so fun to drive by and bam, there's Beth and
Beth and
Stacey.
Stacey.
You know?
Yeah, we do want another billboard, and so that's why we're going to be selling. We're going to try. Beth
More
and I are
sponsors
gonna,
and
we're going to do
stuff.
our more sponsors.
Billboard cost is no joke. I'm not going to lie. You know,
It's
working
expensive.
out at the hospital and marketing, we have a heavy presence on billboards in the area, and it is no joke on cost. So it's something that you definitely have got to support. You know, but it's great advertisement.
Yeah, Amy works at the hospital. What do you do at the hospital?
Marketing and recruitment specialist.
Marketing and recruitment. So she's
So if you
marketing.
need a job, this is your
I was
gal.
gonna say, right now in the job, what is happening in the job market there?
It's not too crazy right now, which is good. I mean, it's good for me. You know, I want to work more on retention than I do recruiting at the end of the day. You know, but it's not too bad. We still have some opening. The two spots I've got the most openings for is nurses and EMS staff. That's
EMS.
EMTs and paramedics.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where it's at. There's always a little, you know, the randoms,
Yeah.
the one-offs, you know, job openings, things like that. I do have a couple in our environmental services, which is cleaning and sanitation. You know, not the most glamorous job, but it's solid. It's a solid job. So,
God bless them.
I know, and it has to happen. I mean, it's a
Seriously.
job that
Gotta
has to
have it.
happen, you know. But
Gotta
I always
have it.
tell everybody my number one piece of advice, if I don't leave you with anything else, is do not apply and leave me with a blank application. Like, and that is, it happens.
Here's
all
my
the time.
application. Fill in the blanks.
Yes, yes.
Whatever you need.
I'm telling you, I get name, maybe address, name, email, phone number, the wage that they'd like to have, and the fact that and they'll check mark, you know, I want a full-time or part-time job, whatever, and then that's it. The rest of the application is blank, and it goes bloop into that box. I just don't even.
How weird is that?
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Do you think people what?
I think it's just
Speechless. I don't even know what to say.
think
That's
it's
so weird.
I honestly think sometimes, I think after COVID, when larger employers were looking for a large amount of workers, and they were hosting all these job fairs and needing a large amount of people to apply, I think it really was like, give me your contact information, and we're just going to bring everybody in and put you where we need to put you.
Right.
It's not quite like that anymore. You know, it is more selective now. You know, we are looking for really great candidates to fill roles that have specific qualities and skill sets. So we need to know about you. We need to know more about you, or we won't process. You know, we can't even process that.
Right, you can't
But yeah,
process
it
it.
happens all the time. All the time.
I would have never in a million years thunk that.
Thunk it. Don't be out.
I would not have thunked it.
Who would have thunk it?
Who'd have thunk it? Not me. Not me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with a handy dandy ad. Okay, Avon.
Oh,
I've always
yeah.
liked Avon, right?
Yeah.
This ad is from the 60s.
Okay.
Did you know that Avon had Avon for Men?
Yeah.
You did?
Well, not back then, but I know they
Look.
have it now. Oh, they had it even back then.
Yes.
Oh, funny. No, I thought it was something a little newer.
No, no.
That's literally an old container of like shaving cream. You know,
Isn't
like
that
look
the
at
greatest thing ever?
Oh, that's
Deodorant
great.
and shaving cream. Avon for Men. Enjoy choosing it. He enjoys using it.
Oh,
I thought the writers back in the day.
She looks like she's quite attracted to his
Look
scent.
at that.
Is she
He's got
spraying
his
him? Look,
shave,
she's like,
he's got deodorant and cologne and aftershave.
oh no, he's spraying it. Hold on, that's like a little play in hands. Had to look at that closer.
Okay, wait a minute. Oh yeah, he's spraying
she's
it.
holding his hand and spraying aftershave
she's got
into
her
his
arms.
hand. Yep, and
the
she's
'60s.
just,
I love.
That's great.
Well, I love her earrings.
Yeah.
I love these. The '60s.
What does it
and
say
70s.
down in the corner where the two ladies
Well,
are?
it's too blurry and my eyes are old.
Oh.
Basically, two ladies are like looking for the products
In the
for
catalog
their man.
or something.
She's it's
Oh,
'cause
that's
like I
funny.
said. She and like underneath the Avon. She enjoys choosing it.
Oh.
He enjoys using it.
That's great.
That's the greatest thing.
That's awesome.
Oh, the '60s.
Yeah, that's
What
great.
a great. I'm a '50s gal. I love the '50s, but some of these ads from the '60s crack me up.
Oh, I know.
We come across.
I think that was
so-
when women were just now starting to really get their foot on this idea of that maybe there's more to life outside of the kitchen. Mm-hmm. You know,
Maybe.
I mean, that's when that was
Yeah.
really starting to pick up. You know, and then it was like the '70s they grabbed a hold of it and
Yeah.
ran with it. You know, but it was like the '60s you're just testing the waters.
There's
you know?
so many. I came across some ads and I haven't done it yet, but I've got a book, and I found these old ads, but it's from the '60s, and it's like totally degrading.
Yeah.
To women. I mean, there was this one, I haven't pulled it out yet, but basically it's like, it looks like a bear skin rug, but like his wife's face is on the front.
Nuh-uh. Like instead of the bear face,
Yeah, instead
it's
of the
her?
bear face is why.
What does it say? Like
I
some
can't
caption that
remember.
says,
It's
"Don't let your husband walk all over you."
Yeah, no, it's like
Choose to
make sure-
first dinner meal.
Yeah, make sure you walk all over your wife if she doesn't cook your meal right.
Right.
Something like that. I mean, it was, I can't even go into it because it was crazy.
A woman's place.
Yeah, and I love the ads from the 50s because like the 20s, 30s, and 40s, a lot of fashion. And
Yeah.
the 50s, you've got the housewife and the
It's the
pearls
housewife stuff,
and
yeah.
it's appliances for,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
pretty
because they're
cool.
just now picking up, you know,
But
all
the
the new
60s,
gadgets.
there
and
was
the
something.
appli-
I'm
yeah.
going to bring one of those.
I'm telling you,
if I
yeah.
can bring myself to do it.
The 50s was like the upgrade in technology. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a lot of the make your home life better, you know, the ice box, electric ice box
Oh,
and
great.
stuff, you know, things like that. And then, yeah, you get to the 60s. Now it's like, okay, we've got all these appliances. We're sitting at home. We're bored. What else can we do? Because I'm tired of running a blender and making jello molds.
Right.
You know
One
what I mean?
of the greatest ones, you've got the dad with the paper and his pipe.
Yeah.
And she's running the vacuum.
Running the vacuum, yes.
And it's like, she'll love you forever for this new convenient vacuum. Oh, God,
I
it's the
remember my
greatest.
dad buying my mom a vacuum for her birthday,
Oh,
like when I was a
no.
kid, and she was like, "John, what is this?"
What-
You know,
what
and he's
is
like,
this?
"Well, honey, I thought you needed a new vacuum," and it's like we've not gotten out of that. Sometimes we
That's the
still think
greatest.
about
That's the
about
greatest.
necessities as gifts. It's like, no, that's a
That's so
necessity,
funny.
not a gift.
Well, we're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to do a story today on a state trooper, Layton Davis, that a customer of mine brought me this book, and I found it fascinating. So we're going to go into his story here in a little bit. We'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I have picked up this story. It's called a book, Jeannie Harbin. She's a customer of mine from Clay City. She was going through some of her stuff and she found some like neat little books on local history. And it's called An Ordinary Day. It's the story of Trooper Layton Davis. And I found it absolutely fascinating because it happens like he was from Effingham, but this chase happened all the way down to Clay City and over to
Now, does he
Olney.
have a piece of the interstate up there in the Effingham area that's got his name on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. But this is a little bit of an interesting story on just how the state police came about. On the night of May 17th, 1792, a local named John Ryer was drinking at Hunt's Tavern in Westchester County, New York, near what is now the intersection of West Farms Road and 167th Street in the Bronx. Ryer was causing so much trouble that the tavern's owner, Levi Hunt, requested assistance from the local sheriff. Deputy Isaac Smith, a veteran of the Revolutionary War, was sent to handle the situation. Smith arrived and confronted Ryer outside the tavern as Smith attempted to arrest him. Ryer pulled out one of two flintlock pistols he had in his possession and fired. Smith fell dead from the gunshot wound. At that moment, Isaac Smith became the first law enforcement officer killed in the line of duty in America. Ryer was later captured in Canada, brought back to New York, and hanged for murder. Since Isaac Smith, there have been over 19,000 police officers killed in the line of duty. It is estimated that on average, one officer is killed every 53 hours.
Oh.
So this is where all this gets interesting. So like May 17th, 1792, the first officer killed. Okay, now I'm going to talk about Trooper Davis. Now I'm going to make notes because I've got a million different notes here. On June 24th, 1921, the Illinois General Assembly authorized the Department of Public Works and Buildings to hire sufficient a number of state highway patrol officers to enforce the provisions of the Illinois motor vehicle laws. As a result, the Illinois State Police was officially established in 1922. Did you know that? State Police headquarters are located in the capital city of Springfield, and the state is divided into districts, with each district having its own headquarters and command structure. In 1968, a police academy was constructed in Springfield to train newly hired state police cadets. Prior to that, they received less formal training at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. I thought that was interesting. The city of Effingham traces its roots back to 1814, when early pioneers settled along the Little Wabash River. For nearly half a century, the isolated village saw little growth. Most population increases occurred when a farm family traveling west along the Cumberland Trail stopped to work the rich prairie soil and decided to call the area home. Sorry, didn't know that was going to happen. In the 1850s, the railroad expanded through the area, transforming the sleepy village into a bustling community with stores and hotels. And in 1859, the village was named the county seat. The residents changed the town's name from Broughton, named after John Brough. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. it rhymes with Huff, Brufton. The residents changed the town's name from Brufton, named after John Bruff, a man who would later become governor of Ohio, to Effingham, in honor of British Lord Thomas Howard of Effingham.
So where is this Effingham, the original Effingham then?
Huh?
That guy was from...
Yeah. So it was Brufton, named after John Bruff.
I always wondered where the name Effingham came from.
Well, now we know. Howard resigned his commissions as a general in the British Army in 1775. So Howard was a Revolutionary War soldier. He resigned his commission to the British Army, refusing to fight against the colonies. So we're talking. So then Effingham went from Brufton to being named after British Lord Thomas Howard of Effingham, who was apparently part of the British Army, but then switched over. How neat is? I mean, just
cool.
just neat stories.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about Effingham history.
Yeah. Here's where we go into. I don't know much, but we're going to start doing more Effingham stuff. I got to pay attention to the.
There's so much there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You think we have
like
a bunch
the hospital
of killings.
fire?
We did it. We did the hospital fire. It was crazy.
And you got to do a segment on Alley Oop.
Yeah, we need to do that.
You know?
I always liked him.
Yeah, for sure.
Thursday, March 18th. Now we're back into the time of Layton Davis. This happened.
Okay.
Thursday, March 18th, 1976 was an ordinary day for Trooper Davis. He was a 23-year veteran who had patrolled District 12 for 18 years. He lived with his wife, Helen, and two sons, 17-year-old David and 10-year-old Troy, in Watson, a small community just south of Effingham. His 27-year-old son, Lewis, resided in Elmira, New York. Layton's routine was no different than it had been hundreds of other mornings. The boys got up and got ready for school. Breakfast was fixed and eaten, and Layton got dressed. His uniform was pressed and starched. The Illinois State Police tolerated nothing less than perfection in personal appearance. He wore a long-sleeved uniform shirt with a black necktie. He could have shaved in the gleam of his polished leather shoes, and a spotless silver six-pointed star was in place above his left shirt pocket. The badge read Trooper in bold black letters. A close-cropped military-style crew cut was covered by his round Mountie-style trooper's hat. Troopers took their squad cars home and called in from their houses when they began their shift. Layton Davis walked out of his car and radioed in that he was on duty, car 1243, in service. So now he's taken off that day. It's 1976. I don't know, all of a sudden my allergies have just kicked in. During the morning of March 18th, Trooper Davis handled a number of routine calls. Among other assignments, he assisted a stranded motorist. Nothing out of the ordinary. Sometime before noon, he stopped by the Effingham Fire Department to visit with his long friend, Fire Chief Logan Van Dyke. Davis and Van Dyke visited for 20 minutes or so, chatting about hunting and other mutual interests. Davis left the fire department and headed to a local truck stop where he ate lunch. After lunch, he headed north on Interstate 57 to run radar at the rest stop just north of town. Interstate 57 is a major north-south highway connection with the Interstate 94 in Chicago and running south to I-55 at Minor, Missouri. Along the way, it intersects with several interstates, including 80, 74, 72, 70, 64, and 24. Maybe that's why they call Effingham the Crossroads.
Crossroads of America. That's it.
57's access to other major interstates make it a popular, well-traveled roadway. The exit at Effingham is especially well-traveled because of its intersection with Interstate 70, which is a major east-west artery that runs from Interstate 15 near Cove Fort, Utah, to a park and ride at Baltimore, Maryland. Trooper Davis arrived at the rest stop a little after 1 p.m. to set up a position to run radar. There are actually two rest stops, one each off on the north and southbound lanes. He could have chosen either one, but for reasons unknown, he chose to set up in the southbound one. The rest stop sits on the right side of the road as travelers drive south and drivers exit off the interstate to the right to enter. There were a handful of people in the rest area when he arrived. The trooper would not be able to stop any northbound vehicles, only southbound, because the north and southbound lanes are separated by a deep ravine at the rest area. As Trooper Davis set up, a car driven by Aaron Hike of Chicago was approaching from the north. His friend James Taylor was riding in the passenger seat. Trooper Davis had never heard of Hike or Taylor. Neither of them had ever heard of him. But in just a few short moments, their paths would cross, and the lives of many people would never be the same. This is where it gets really interesting.
Dun, dun.
Yeah. So basically, it's just a normal day for him. I'm going to keep going just for a little bit more. Now we're going to talk about the two men from Chicago. Aaron Hike and James Taylor grew up together in the Robert Taylor Homes, a public housing development in Chicago. It was named for Robert Taylor, an African-American activist and Chicago Housing Authority board member who resigned in 1950, when the city council refused to endorse potential building locations throughout the city that would promote racially integrated housing. Aaron Hike was born on December 11th, 1950, in Chicago, the son of Aaron and Lucille Hike. He was the first of 8 siblings, and he had a half-sister born to his father by a previous marriage. In March of 1976, Aaron Hike had already racked up a substantial criminal record. The 25-year-old African-American had been in and out of jail for over a decade. His first arrest came in 1966 at the age of 15 for armed robbery and served a year and a half in St. John's Juvenile Prison. Armed robbery would prove to be Hike's forte. He committed his first as an adult in April of 1970 at the age of 19 and did a few months at the state penitentiary in Joliet. Another armed robbery conviction in February 1971 brought a sentence of 2 to 3 years in Pontiac. He was paroled in January of 1973. Hike was on the street a little over a month when the attempted armed robbery conviction sent him back to Joliet until 1974. From February 1974 through January 1976, Hike appears to have made an attempt to get some education and find employment. Then in January of 1976, he was arrested in Chicago for attempted armed robbery and attempted murder. He was convicted of those charges and sentenced to 4 to 8 years in prison. A Cook County judge named Curie allowed Hike to leave court without restrictions in order to wind up his personal affairs. He left the courthouse with no intentions of returning to serve his sentence.
Well, of course not. Why would, I should say, why would you, but
right.
Most are not going to want to come back,
The thing about this guy, he was very smart. Hike was, he was a very smart, intelligent.
The robber?
Yeah, he was a very smart guy. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will come back after these messages.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating, So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Bev and Stacey, and we are discussing the life of Trooper Layton Davis, a state trooper from Effingham. And right now he is just sitting there minding his own business, getting ready to write some speeding tickets. I've introduced you to Aaron Hike and James Taylor. They were two young men from the Chicago area. Actually, they went to high school together.
Okay.
Okay, so Aaron and James went to high school together. After high school, kind of went about their own way. Both ended up in quite a bit of trouble. What happens next is they meet back up. They have an acquaintance, a friend of theirs that are in common with each other, and they kind of like hook back up because Hike is now in trouble.
Right.
But so
now he's got a sentence.
Now
to
he's
show
got
up
a
for.
sentence. He's got a lot of stuff. I do think that James Taylor was more of an innocent bystander. He was not a good guy, but Hike was the main guy behind the whole thing. But anyway, so like they're at a buddy's house, and they're like, "Hey, I'm fixing to get sentenced and all this stuff. Why don't we just head to Southern Illinois? Let's just get in the car and get
Taken
on.
out of Chicago.
Let's get out of Chicago." So what they do is they take this friend's car there and they start heading down on Interstate 57. So now they're heading down on 57. One of them has a record, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. We're going to start back with our story. Trooper Davis set up his position near the point of the rest area where it exits onto the interstate. The speed limit at that time was 55. Okay, let's just talk real quick. I can't even imagine. I remember as a little girl. Okay, Amy, do you remember traveling with? Wait, well, I keep forgetting that Amy and I are not the same age. I'm literally her mother.
No, we're not.
We're not.
I am going to have a milestone birthday, though, here in a couple weeks. So,
you hit 40.
I'm going to hit 40.
But the thing about it is like I'm literally okay. So your mom was young when she had, because I'm only going to be 57.
Yeah.
So I'm
Mom's
really
50.
not.
Mom will be 50, or Mom just turned 58 over the weekend.
Okay, so your mom's a year older.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
really,
technically not.
I'm technically really
Not.
No.
But if you had me at 17, yes.
Yeah. What's
You know.
funny though is like people are always Jim and I, everybody Jim and I run with, we are literally old enough to be there. Everybody we surround
This
ourselves
makes me
with.
think of. This makes me think of like those like those stories of like witches and stuff that like suck your soul so that you hold on so that they can live forever. You know what I mean? So they always got to have the next person that's
Like
young
Winnie?
and fresh. Yes, that's exactly right. So is this why you?
Remember Winnie.
Is this why you hang out with
Maybe that
the
is
younger
'cause I'm
crowd because it
sucking
keeps
the
you
souls out of the young people
keeps
so I
you
can remain
young,
young.
you know?
But I read
Happy
this.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween, yes. It's so funny that I do remember the speed limit on the interstates being 55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
now-
no seatbelt. Like,
Oh no!
you have to have a
Heck
seatbelt.
no, we rode in the back.
You
of
can
Dad's
hang out in the back.
pickup
Yeah,
truck.
you can hang out in the back.
So
of
many
the,
times we went to
car
Florida and my in the back of, or like the back, my grandpa had a Cadillac, you know, like you have that big window. Buffy
Yeah.
and I'd lay in the back and sleep.
Yeah, in the window.
In the window.
We did the same thing just in a minivan in the
Like
90s.
that.
Like in the
Come on.
we didn't even have to do it in the 90s. You know.
Okay, back to Trooper Davis. Shortly after setting up, he clocked a southbound car at 67. As the car drove past, Trooper Davis immediately pulled onto the interstate behind it and pulled it over. There were two people in the car. This is how they're speeding.
It's
The
so
driver-
bad. It's only 17 miles an hour.
Right. I'm not going to talk about my
Or 12.
my
it's only 12.
my speeding tickets. The driver was Aaron Hike, and the passenger was James Taylor. Davis called in the stop to the dispatcher. He gave his location and the license number of the car. There was no alert when he gave the plate number. The car was not registered to Hike's name, and the registered owner was not wanted. Because remember, they took the friend's car that they met up
Right.
with. I gotta find all my little notes here. The trooper approached the car and asked the driver for his license. He explained that he had stopped him for speeding and asked him to return to the squad car with him. Hike complied, and Taylor remained in the passenger seat of the car. As Hike sat in Trooper Davis's squad car, Davis's radioed in his name and date of birth, the information the dispatcher needs to run a driver's license check and to check for records like criminal history and outstanding arrest warrants. It's weird because now you'd never go sit back in a police in a car, would you? Mm-mm. While he waited for acknowledgement from the dispatcher, Davis clipped Hike's driver's license to his ticket book and began writing out a citation. Before he had finished writing the ticket, the dispatcher sent out a hit tone, which is an audible alert and lets the officer and other officers on the same radio frequency know the person being checked is wanted. The dispatcher then provides the officer with details of the warrant, such as the charge, county of jurisdiction, and bond amount. The charge was a serious one, armed robbery, and Hike was on the run. A veteran officer like Davis would instantly surmise the likelihood the suspect might, at a minimum, resist arrest and could be armed. The trooper and the criminal looked at each other in the eye. Yeah, because that Hike's in the car with him as this all comes over the radio. How scary.
Oh, he was
Hike
in
is in
the
the car with the
so
troop.
he made him come to his car and
Yeah,
put him in the back of
and
his
put him
squad
in-
car
yeah,
while he's waiting.
Probably
Oh,
in the
my
front
gosh.
seat. Yeah, so they're in the front seat.
Well, yeah, he'd have to be if he made eye
Yeah.
contact.
Oh, my gosh. No doubt the anxiety level of each escalated. A sense of unease must have filled the air. A routine stop for a minor traffic violation had turned into a high-stakes encounter for both men. Davis confronted Hike about the outstanding warrant, and he resorted to dealing with the problem with the method he knew best. He lied. He told David the warrant was for his brother, saying that his brother is often in trouble with the police and that he has been known to use Aaron's name and not his own. His brother had probably been picked up and used his name again. It was all a big mistake. Davis asked Hike if Taylor had a valid driver's license. Hike told him he did. According to Hike, he's the liar, remember, Davis told him Davis told him he was going to verify that Taylor was illegal to drive. If so, he would instruct Taylor to follow them to the state police headquarters, where he would try to sort things out. Hike said he thought there was a chance Davis might buy his story and would eventually let him go. If not, he would resign himself to the fact he had been caught and would return to Chicago. Trooper Davis got out of his car, approached the passenger side of the car he had stopped, and ordered Taylor out of the car. When Taylor exited the car, he had Hike's loaded .357 Magnum tucked into his waistband. Taylor said Hike gave it to him when they were pulled over and told him to conceal it so the trooper would not see it. Hike told me the gun had been hidden under the seat. Taylor panicked and thought the trooper might search the car and find it. So he retrieved it from under the seat and put it in his waistband to hide it. Either way, one fact is not in dispute. Taylor did, in fact, have the loaded pistol tucked in his waistband when the trooper ordered him out of the car. Davis explained what was happening and told Taylor he would have to follow them to headquarters. He asked to see Taylor's license to verify he was illegal to drive. He was legal to drive, but he did not have any identification on him. Davis told Taylor since he did not have his license, he would have to ride in the squad car. Before doing so, Davis would need to search him. And as he did, he discovered the gun. Oh my! So now this guy's in, not cool. Can you imagine being
and so he's searching Taylor for the gun.
He's
Taylor's
searching
got to ride in the car. And where's the other? Where's the
Hike
other
is
guy?
still
Hike?
Hike is still in the back in the other squad.
He's in the
car.
back of the other squad. Okay.
Now we're gonna so now this is like we're gonna jump a little bit to the head of the story. This is like it says what happened. Taylor, the guy that had the gun, tells the story. This is like after the arrest, but then we're going to talk about the chase. After the arrest, Taylor was interviewed by state police investigators. This is after Taylor and Hike shot Davis. He told them that Hike exited the car when he was stopped and walked back to meet Trooper Davis. Hike and Davis went back to the squad car with Hike getting in the passenger side. Taylor said he stayed in the car. After approximately 10 minutes, Davis and Hike exited Davis's car and approached Hike's car, which we know this to be true. Davis approached the driver's side of the car while Hike walked to the passenger side next to Taylor. Davis searched the driver's side of the car and then walked around the rear of the car to the passenger side. So now all three men This is what the convicted guy Taylor said, James Taylor said happened. Davis ordered Taylor out of the car and searched the passenger side of the car. He found nothing out of the ordinary. Davis then began to search Taylor from behind. Taylor told police that he had taken the gun from under his seat and slipped it in his waistband, while Davis walked around from the driver's side of the car to the passenger side. Davis felt the gun Taylor was hiding. He grabbed Taylor and, at the same time, reached for his own gun. Hike had exited Davis's squad car and snuck up along the passenger side of Hike's car behind Davis. Hike grabbed Davis from behind, and a struggle ensued for possession of the revolver. During the struggle, Hike managed to grab the .357 and shoot Davis with it. Davis had drawn his own gun, a semi-automatic pistol, and pointed it at Hike, but fell to the ground before he could fire. Taylor got up and ran to the car. While he was running, he heard one or two more shots. Taylor entered the car of the passenger side a short time later. Hike got on the driver's side. Hike said Trooper Davis had been shot and they had to go. A motorist had stopped and was trying to render aid to Trooper Davis. So at this point, we know that all the struggling happens, and now this is when the police. This is when the chase happens.
So they really didn't have a good reason to shoot him because he was just searching him, and then he disclosed that he had it.
Yeah.
But the trooper went ahead and grabbed for his gun just to be on the safe side because here you've got somebody else with a gun.
Yeah, he's got this guy that he doesn't know anything about that's got a gun on him. But then there's a struggle happen. Hike grabs.
So they just panic.
Everybody just panicked.
That's all that happened.
Because Hike knew that if he was going to, because he was fixing to figure out if James Taylor had a valid driver's license.
Yeah.
You know? And then that's when it all went awry. Had that James Taylor had about, which he probably did, they would have just went on their way. Their story would have.
Yeah, he probably would have gotten by with it.
Yeah, they probably would have gotten by with it, but they,
Yeah.
Goodness sakes. One witness actually saw Trooper Davis get shot. Can you imagine being everybody around this rest area?
I know.
That would be so scary. One witness actually saw Trooper Davis get shot. He was close enough to see the killer's face, close enough to identify them, close enough to see the shooter's arm recoil as he fired the shots into the officer's chest. That's the other thing. And he shot him 3 times.
Yeah, he made sure the job was done.
He made sure that it was done. And it nearly cost him his life. He would be the state's star witness at trial. Originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Herman Brent Hahn was a 32-year-old student in Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. He was driving south on Interstate 57 when he saw Trooper Davis's car at the side of the road when the flashing lights activated. Davis was struggling with the 2 black men who were dragging him into the ditch. Hahn stopped his Chevrolet Blazer and ran to the front of Davis's squad car where he saw the 3 men in the ditch, Hike and Taylor on top of Davis. Davis was lying on the ground face up. Taylor had his knee on Davis's right leg. He was holding Davis's right wrist with both hands, pinning down his right arm. Davis was clutching his service pistol in his right hand. Hike had his left leg on top of Davis's left leg, keeping it pinned down. He used his left arm to pin down Davis's left arm. Hike held the .357 Magnum in his right hand and was pointing it at the trooper's chest. Hahn heard the sound of 3 gunshots and saw Hike's arm recoil. So now we've got the guy that really saw everything.
Yeah.
So it was just a bad deal. Realizing Davis had been shot, Hahn turned and ran toward his vehicle knowing he needed to get help. So this guy's just like, hey, what's going on here? It looks like somebody needs help.
That would like scare the living bejesus out of me because you got these 3 guys tussling right in front of you, which means there's still guns and live ammunition going off, and then you pull over to help and, but how do he could have lost his own life.
He could have lost his own life. So now he's out, but now he's running toward his vehicle knowing he needed to get help. Hike saw him and gave chase. As Hahn ran to his Blazer, Hike tried to shoot him.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
He fired 3 shots. The first 2 were fired as Hahn was running to his car. 1 shot missed, and the other struck the headlight of the front of Hahn's vehicle.
Wow.
As Hahn entered his car, Hike fired at him a 3rd time. That shot went through the windshield and embedded in the headrest of Hahn as Hahn ducked and drove away. As Hahn sped off, he saw the two suspects get in their car and pull onto the interstate behind him. They were coming after him. Hahn exited off on Interstate 57 and took Interstate 70 east. Hike and Taylor also exited onto Interstate 70. However, they went west and quickly exited 70 and headed toward Effingham. Hahn was safe. He got off of 70 at Montrose, Illinois, and stopped at a farmhouse where he called the police for help. So we're going to take. So now
He's scared to death
he
at
got
that
away.
point.
He got away, and now's where the kidnapping happens, because they kidnap an 18-year-old girl, and the chase ends up going through Effingham, down the Clay City Blacktop, over to Olney.
Why
It's very
in the
interesting.
world?
We will be right back after this message.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
Give me all your lumber. Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm going to continue on the story of Trooper Layton Davis. So now they've shot and killed the trooper. They're on the run, and a man has escaped for his life. So that's a good thing. Now we meet Anna Mae Feldake, was an 18-year-old college student from rural Effingham. She had graduated from Effingham's St. Anthony High School the previous year and was a student at Lakeland College in Mattoon. Miss Feldake had class the day of the shooting and drove home in the early afternoon. Three friends, Marilyn Goldstein, Deb Harmon, and Christy Holkenbrink, had ridden with her to school. Goldstein and Harmon had already been dropped off. Anna dropped off Holkenbrink at a residence on South 4th Street Road behind the Village Square Mall in Effingham and headed toward home. She wouldn't make it. Like Trooper Davis, she was about to have an encounter with Aaron Hike and James Taylor. At the scene of the shooting, there was confusion and panic. Trooper Davis had been shot 3 times. Wow, goodness sakes. To make matters worse, the fugitives responsible, these guys were just were their own worst enemies. It's absolutely insane what they've done. So long story short, this little girl she's taking her friends home. Everybody right now, Hike and Taylor are on that street behind the Village Square Mall.
Okay, so they're in town. Yeah.
No, they're in town. Yeah. And now the police and everybody's after him. Okay. Hike and Taylor were running. They weren't naive. They knew there were too many witnesses for the police not to have their description. They also knew they had shot and possibly killed a police officer. So at this point, they don't know.
They weren't sure that the 3 shots did it.
They don't know if the 3 shots did it.
And he was on top of him directly in his chest.
That's their story.
Yeah.
So then now they're on South. So now they're at Village Square Mall, and that's the same road that Anna Feldake would drop her friend off. So now that road leads out of town and heads into the country. Hike knew that he knew he was lost. Okay. Long story short, he's out in the country. He doesn't know where he's at, and they get their car stuck. Okay, so Hike, the rear tires get stuck in a ditch, and Hike's attempted to turn the car around, but it was stuck and he couldn't get out. Hike and Taylor jumped out and tried to push the car out of the ditch, but they didn't have any luck. At the same time, Miss Feldake and Miss Hulkenberg were passing by. Anna saw the car in the ditch, and the two men attempted to push it out as she and her friends drove by. So they see the girl and her friends, they see these guys stuck in the ditch, but they drive by. Anna drops her friends off, and now she's headed back that way. Okay. After dropping her friends off, she returned down the same road. Hike and Taylor saw an opportunity to flee. It was going to come at the expense of the 18-year-old Good Samaritan. Anna's car was a blue 1974 Chevrolet Nova hatchback. Not only did Hike and Taylor have an opportunity to flee, but they could do it in a car that no one was looking for. The police were searching for a brown Plymouth. It would be located, but the suspects would be long gone. The blue Nova wouldn't draw any attention. The suspects had longed for a break, and it rolled up to them on a rural road in the form of a blue Chevrolet. Hike and Taylor yelled at Miss Feldake, and she stopped. She rolled down the window to see whether she could be of assistance. Hike and Taylor walked over to her car, opened the passenger door. They told Anna they needed to go to the bus station. So, this is where it gets interesting. So now they're like, they don't want to kidnap this girl. Okay, so Anna takes them to the bus station. So they get in her car, and then they're taken to the bus station. They buy bus tickets to go back to. They buy bus tickets to head down south on 57. There at the old Greyhound bus station, realizing that now there's cops everywhere, and the bus for them to leave to head down south, southern Illinois, and get out of Illinois was 3 hours away.
Oh my!
So they couldn't stay there. So what do? Sorry, little girl, but we're going to hijack you. So now they get back into this car and they kidnap this girl and they head back down. Now they're heading down to the Clay City Blacktop.
Why don't they just kick her out of the car, steal her car?
Well, because I don't know. I don't know. Now they're heading down. Now the chase is proceeding down the Clay City Blacktop. Other troopers are everywhere now. Then there was a trooper named Harold Brooks. He was actually in Clay City. Okay, so you've got Trooper Harold Brooks. Everybody's ensuing. They've kidnapped the girl because their bus wasn't leaving for 3 hours. They're driving down like bats out of down the Clay City Blacktop. Trooper Brooks is in Clay City, and he sees the car and the black men. Okay, so get this. So this is what happens. He pulls them over because he's like thinking, wait a minute, this guy's, I'm not looking for this car. They still don't know it's they think that this girl's been taken. But when you're in Clay City, I don't know if you know this, but there's not, back in 1960, there's not a lot of black people. So you're looking for two black men heading down this way.
Right.
So they pull him over. They pulled the car over. Hike got out of the car to approach the trooper, and then the trooper saw Anna jump up out of the back seat, waving for help.
I'm surprised that they pulled over. They just didn't just keep running at that point.
I bet he was going to shoot him.
Yeah.
I bet he was probably going back. So he gets up. Then the officer pulls his gun. Hike, instead of just shooting him, Hike runs back, gets in the car, and now they're going.
Off.
And they take off, and they go all the way down to Clay City. Okay, they go to Clay City, and then it's just like Smokey and the Bandit. They hit Route 50 and they go to Olney. So now other troopers, everybody's in pursuit. Okay, I'm probably going to have to just speed this up real quick. So I'm just going to not read more about this because we're going to finish up real quick. So basically, long story short, now they're going to Route 50. You're in Route 50 and 130 cross. We've got. And before, like the bridges in Clay City, they had that block. Somehow these guys got around that.
Oh, no
They
kidding.
kept going. They made it to 130 and Route 50. They're in Olney. And then by this time, everybody's they can't go anywhere. There's cops.
Oh, so they had them. They got ahead of them then.
But like right when you get to that, what happened is they tried to, skidded right around him and hit that ditch right there on the corner where we all are at all the time.
Yeah.
And James Taylor was stuck in the car, and and then Hike tried to run, but everybody got caught.
Good.
So everybody
it was
got
right
caught.
there at the intersection and all.
Right there at
when
the
you get to
intersection.
Olney.
Yes,
Wow.
right there at the intersection. This is really crazy. So everybody's caught. The little girl's safe. Everything is fine. After a review of all the evidence, an informal poll was taken and the census was unanimous. The state had proven its case beyond any reasonable doubt. The only matter that could possibly have been in doubt to some jurors was whether the police had actually captured the right man. But even that point left no doubt. Neither Hike nor Taylor had denied being present when Trooper Davis was killed. Instead, they offered explanations to justify why their actions did not amount to murder. The jury believed the testimony of the troopers and the witnesses. Hahn's eyewitness account of Hike sitting on top of Davis firing 3 times and then turning the gun on him led the jury to conclude that Hike was a cold-blooded killer who had no legitimate defense for his action. The jury returned a verdict at 8 p.m. Aaron Hike was guilty of murder, attempted murder, and kidnapping. Long story short, when it was all said and done, on October 15th, 1976, Taylor got 200 years for murder, 20 years for kidnapping. Hike got 300 years for murder, 75 years for kidnapping, and they are all in Menard. Trooper Davis is buried in Watson. And in 1996, the state police headquarters building was named the Layton T. Davis Memorial Building. Before we leave, I want to show you a picture of the trooper. He's buried in Watson. That was the state trooper that was senselessly killed by those 2 men.
Making a normal 12-mile-an-hour overstop.
Oh, yeah. Could have absolutely. And then, but that Hike was he was a very dangerous man. I've got a picture
So
of
they
them,
both
too.
still alive
There they
and
are.
they're
Yeah,
still
there they
in
are.
Menard?
Aaron Hike, that's the picture of Aaron Hike in Effingham photo. That's him on the right. And then James Taylor, that was taken at Effingham. But they're both serving. They're never going to get out. Life sentences.
Right.
I mean, they didn't get life sentences, but when you get 200 years, 300 years, I never did understand those.
I don't understand the difference between getting 200 years versus a life sentence. To me, that's life, you know.
But anyway, so that's the story of speed chasing.
Well, that makes the little signs that you see, you know, when it says Memorial Highway, you know,
Absolutely.
dedicated to so-and-so, a whole other appreciation.
It does. Whenever you see those, something serious happened. Now, we're going to get back to our deep thoughts.
With Jack Handy. I feel like we are really deep right now. We need to deep. Come back out of that.
Oh, goodness. If you go through a lot of hammers each month, I don't think it necessarily means you're a hard worker. It may just mean that you have a lot to learn about proper hammer maintenance.
Oh, my God. Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
That's it. We're done. That's our story. We're sticking to it. Well, thank you for joining us today. Amy, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having
and
me.
taking Beth's place. I'm sure this probably won't be your last
My
time
pleasure.
visiting us, but we want to thank the hospital for letting you, unless they don't know you're here.
No, they do. They do.
Well, that's our show, and we want to thank you for joining us. God bless you and have a great day.